One of this country's largest real estate firms is predicting a less volatile market for Halifax homebuyers in 2025, with prices expected to increase between 1% and 5% over the next year. Matt Honsberger is president of Royal LePage Atlantic. So, Mr. Honsberger, your company's report suggests a more stable year ahead for housing. Why do you think that?
Well, we've had certainly 4 or 5 now quite unpredictable years. 2 years in the middle of the pandemic where it was exceptionally busy, and then a couple of years after the pandemic where we were slower than we thought we would be. And so, we've kind of hit the end of what we see as a bit of a cycle in that respect, and we would expect to get back to a normal level of number of trades going through our boards here over the next 12 months or so.
And so in 2025, what does that look like price-wise?
Yeah, price we don't see coming down at all. We see price kind of stable, maybe a little bit of gradual upwards movement in price as well. We still have a bit of a shortage of inventory, certainly in specific parts of the market where first-time buyers are still trying to get into the market, and that's putting upward pressure on that price point. And we would expect to see the move-up buyer start to move again a little bit in the coming year. So while there has been a little bit of slowness in that part of the market, we would expect to see that there might be some pressure on inventory there. And as soon as there's a lack of inventory in any part of the market, you see price go upwards.
Yeah, so let's talk about that supply. Obviously, it's been an issue for some time in this market and in others as well. What are you seeing on that side of things that might potentially impact 2025?
It's been gradually coming back since about the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023. So as I was kind of describing to some folks yesterday, we got as low as 200 houses on the market in the middle of 2022 in Halifax region anyway, and we're back to about 1,000. But if you were to look back in 2015, we would have closer to 4,000 on the market. So we're still on the end of the spectrum towards not having enough housing, but we're drifting back in the right direction at this point.
And so the median house price is moving toward, I think it's about the $600,000 mark in Halifax and HRM. Who is buying at these prices?
Yeah, there's a little less interprovincial migration at this point. So these would be people who are already living in the province. We certainly still see a lot of newcomers to Canada who are looking to buy homes at this point. And so, that's something that we'll be watching as well, given that there's regulations changing around that, and also a bunch of geopolitical stuff happening right now with our neighbor to the south. So we're definitely watching population trends, but for the most part, the people who are buying homes right now, are the people who are already living in Nova Scotia.
And so you mentioned some of the wildcards there, the Trump administration in the States, immigration being another one, and we've seen a cutback in the number of students being allowed to come to this country to study. And then there's this whole question about whether we're in a recession or not. How quickly can those things impact prices and supply?
Yeah, ultimately, the immigration question is one that it takes a little while to filter through the system, but you're always also managing a little bit of consumer confidence when it comes to this, right? So people will kind of wait it out or sit on the sideline if they feel like there's a chance that prices might come down. What's I guess positively impacting price right now as well is that rents have been very high as well, and so with rents up high, there is an option for people to go buy now at a comparable price in some cases, as long as they have the down payment. So, until we see the rental market really soften, I would suspect that we're still going to see people who have been in the country for a couple of years looking to enter into the home ownership field.
And on that rental side of things, do you see much of a change there in the next year or so?
Yeah, I mean, I think rentals get affected more quickly by policy. I don't know if the next year or so is when we see it, because we still have lots of people who've come to the country who are, in different, I would say, living arrangements right now. Sometimes, you got two families living together in a single family unit in some cases, and after you get established, you want to move out and own your own place or rent your own place at least. And that's just the very beginning part of the journey. So it takes some time to, again, cycle through the system there. And so the next year, probably not, but beyond that, it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
I know the report looked at Halifax HRM, but anecdotally, what are you seeing in other parts of the province? I mean, does the other parts of the province generally follow Halifax's suit here, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I always think of it this way: is that Toronto follows Vancouver when it comes to housing, and then Halifax follows Toronto, and then the rest of the parts of Atlantic Canada tend to follow Halifax a little bit behind. So, the rest of Nova Scotia for sure gets impacted by what's going on in Halifax from a confidence standpoint, and people are watching the Halifax market to make decisions. But for the most part, there's still really strong underlying principles to the markets in all parts of the province right now. Even as far flung as Sydney and Yarmouth, like there's still lots more people there and reasonably good employment numbers, and that's what drives our markets.
All right, Matt Honsberger, so good to get your take on this. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure.